This video is to allow you to correct your homework for section 1.2.4. So for 190, you need to rewrite the fractions as a percent and the percents as fractions. And of course, when we say to rewrite them as fractions, we mean in simplified form. Make sure you show your thinking with pictures or labeled calculations. So for example, for 2/5, one way you could show your work there is to take 2 divided by 5 and showing that you get the decimal 0.4. I should try to do this with the keyboard. And then, of course, you move your decimal point over 2 places to the right and add a percent sign, which gives you a percent of 40%. Okay, that would be one way to show it. Again, just having 40% would not be adequate. Or you could show your work by saying, all right, 2 over 5 is equal to how much over 100? Because again, we know that percent means out of 100. And so we are multiplying by 20 in the denominator. Therefore, we'd multiply by 20 in the numerator and giving us 40 over 100, which again is 40%. You could also show it by doing the giant 1 of 20 over 20. So do not just take a screenshot of what I showed you, but make sure you have some work shown with the problem. For the next one, 45%, we know that percent means out of 100, so 45 hundredths. And again, I want to see how did you simplify that fraction. So you would be dividing top and bottom by the greatest common factor of the two of them, which looks like 5. So you'd be dividing top and bottom by 5, giant 1 of 5 over 5. And then 45 divided by 5 is 9, 100 divided by 5 is 20. So we not only want the fraction, we want the simplified fraction. So again, I will show you the other answers, but make sure you show this work for all of them. So 120% would be 6/5 or 1 1/5. 21/40. The decimal would be 0.525, in other words, 525 thousandths, which becomes 52.5%. For the next one, she's drawing coins from a bag that contains 5 pennies, 4 nickels, 5 dimes, 2 quarters. What's the probability she's going to pull out a nickel? Well, again, probability is always number of successful or hoped for outcomes, which would be the nickels in this case. There's 4 of them, out of how many total possible outcomes. So 10, 14, looks like 16. So again, you'd get 14/16, but that is not simplified. So you would show that you're dividing by 4 over 4, giving you a fraction of 1/4. And then you should show what is that as a decimal, which of course is 25 hundredths. And what is that as a percent? So again, this is some of the work you would need, but you all should also show us how did you get the decimal of 25 hundredths. 1 divided by 4 would be an easy way to do that. How do you get the percent? Move the decimal point over 2 places to the right. And then for the next one, what you're going to have is now we've added additional things to the bag. So now instead of being 4 out of 16, it's 4 out of 20. Because we've added an additional 4 coins that are not nickels. And again, you should show that you simplified and your fraction, show how you got from your fraction to a decimal, and show how you got your percent. And in which situation is she more likely to draw a nickel? The first, because, of course, 1 out of 4 probability is higher than 1 out of 5. Or you could say 25% is greater than 20%. Here you have to find the mean. Again, keep in mind that you should be showing how you did it. So if you add the 4 up and then divide by 4, you get 8. Another way you could do it when they talk about sort of finding a shortcut is the mean between 6 and 10 is 8. The mean here is also 8. So the mean between 8 and 8 would make sense that it's 8. Here, 11 and 13 are each 1 away from the 12. So 3 of them are 12, and 2 of them are 1 above and 1 below 12. So again, it makes sense that the mean would be 12. Again, somehow explain your work or show your calculations. And the bottom one is 4. A lot of times people make mistakes. They forget to include the zeros when they look at how many terms they're dividing by. But even though the zeros are not contributing to you know, the value, they are part of the data set. So you have to divide by 6. For 195, if 5 slices of pizza cost 5.50, how much do 2 slices cost? Again, I should see work. So maybe that you took $5.50 and divided by 5 to find out the cost of one piece of pizza, which would be $1.10. And then you doubled that to get the slice or the cost of 2 slices. If you're going to do it that way, then taking that same number multiplying by 10 slices would give you $11. And taking this and multiplying by 1/2, or taking half of it, would be 55 cents for half a slice. You could also have shown your work by setting up the proportion. 5 slices of pizza cost $5.50, and we want to know the cost of 2 slices. So slices is across from slices, cost is across from cost, and of course with a cross product proportion situation, you're going to multiply diagonally across, and then so you're multiplying those, and then you're dividing by the third value. So if you want to show the work that way, that'd be fine as well. If you're going to do that, then you would use the same proportion, only now go with 10 slices, and now go with half a slice. Here, I should see that you change them to common denominator fractions. So again, I'll show you an example for this first one. Try to write it as neatly as I can with my mouse, but we have 3/8 minus 1/6. So what we're looking for is what is the least common multiple of the denominators. In other words, what's the least common denominator? Well, multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. And so what we find is the smallest one they have in common is 24. So we're going to show that we're changing these both to a denominator of 24. Then we're saying to ourselves, what do we multiply 8 by to give us 24? And of course, that would be 3. If we're going to multiply by 3 in the denominator, we need to multiply by 3 in the numerator. So we end up getting 9 24ths. And here, what are we going to multiply 6 by to give us 24? Well, that would be 4. So that means we need a giant one of 4 over 4. And 1 times 4 is 4. So now we have 9 24ths minus 1 24th, which of course would be, I'm sorry, my mistake here. I wrote down a 1 and I said a 4. I apologize. 1 times 4 is 4 24ths. So 9 24ths minus 4 24ths is 5 24ths. Now, if that fraction can be simplified at the end, you should show that work as well. But again, what I want to see is the common denominator you used, what you multiplied for your giant 1, what the new equivalent fraction is, and then your answer. And again, if it can be simplified, show that. Now this one's a little bit easier because it already has common denominator. So you would get 7/5, but then I should see that your answer is 1 2/5, because of course we would not leave a fractional answer as an improper fraction. So when you got 7/5, you could take 7 divided by 5 and show that 5 goes into 7 one whole time, which is how you get the whole number. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract, you get 2. That's how you get the numerator of that fraction. And then this is the denominator of the fraction. So I should see how you got that. For C, you would change to a common denominator of 40/5. And again, I should see the work, but this would end up being multiplying by a giant one of 5 over 5, which would be 25 45ths. This would be multiplied by a giant one of 9 over 9, which would be 9 45ths. 25 45ths minus 9 45ths gives you 16 45ths. If this could be simplified, show the work, but it cannot. So that is it for